Good day, everybody. Going. Hope everybody's been having a fantastic day so far. This is the second stream in a row. I've started the stream without my microphone in front of me, but there we go. Like a boss, we're gonna keep on going here. Getting a little bit colder now in this area here in Canada, and I swear to God, it's looking like Taiga Boreal out there. So, hope everybody's staying warm, enjoying the weather when they can. But of course, we're all inside right now. We've got plenty of Illuvium to talk about, and I've actually made sure to pack this stream full of different activities that we're going to be doing here today. First off, we're going to take a look. What are the top teams going into the IPL 1000 that's going to be happening later on this weekend? With the open qualifiers happening on Friday. It's Friday afternoon and evening for me. Might be different based on your time zone, but if you're just kind of picking up the game now, needing a bit of a head start, or just need a refresher on the meta, gladly point you in the right direction. Then after that, we're going to be talking about my Illuvium 0 plots. Majority of my plots have completed their tier 3 scanners, and we have 4 more Illuvials to go. I picked one up yesterday, actually, on one of my tier 5 scanners. I got the Malura. So I've got 4 more to go in order to hit all tier 3s completed. And then we'll continue to also try and put together our suit and skin combos and increase the collection that way. After that, we're going to be hopping into ranked for maybe 1 or 2 games, depending on how much time we have left here. Of course, this 2-hour block of stream, but should be a fun time. Of course, no matter which platform you happen to be on, whether it be Twitch, YouTube, or X, I do have the chats open. You're more than welcome to leave a comment, ask a question, whatever it may happen to be. Not mandatory, though. I'm just happy you're here. But without further ado, let's get into our first topic here for today, and that is going to be teams going into the IPL 1000. It seems to be something that people have been liking me going over basically every week after the tournaments. Normally I do a Monday. I did not have the stats, but I took the time Tuesday and this morning to collect as much data as I could myself to put this one together. So it's going to be a little bit different. This one's not directly fed from the IPL itself, but I collected it myself. So it might look a little bit different, because it is more so based off of ranked usage. But it'll still be very valuable because there is a lot of overlap. In terms of announcements with Illuvium, there isn't a whole heck of a lot. It's just the usual gameplay leaks at this point here, whether it be from Illuvium themselves or from Kieran. So, again, I don't necessarily go over it unless it happens to be like a one in bulk kind of brought to my attention. Because in regards to the MMO, you know my thoughts on the MMO. I'm extremely excited for it nonetheless. I'm very, very curious as to how the support roles will play. Of course, naturally on brand, I'm your support. I'm your healer. And I am very, very intrigued to see where a playstyle like that fits in the Illuvium MMO. But in terms of the leaks themselves, I don't necessarily go over it too much, unless maybe there is a healer leak at some point. Then maybe I will. Because right now it's just a lot of sword. A lot of sword, and I can't see my playstyle revolving around a sword. But let's get on started here. IPL 1000. Get that set up real quick here. Do have majority of it set up. I do apologize in advance. I am a little under the weather, hence why I'm all bundled up here today. Got my mute button handy. If I do happen to cough, though, I do apologize. We'll try my damnedest to make sure that it doesn't go onto the microphone, though. What am I looking? Because especially for this week, I'm actually doing this a little bit differently. I'm not going to be using the team planner in Illuvium for this segment this time. Add my own music into the video a little bit later. So basically, this is a live recording for what will eventually be the YouTube video that comes up, like I've been doing the last couple of weeks. But so plenty of information and a couple of candid moments, I'm sure. about it as well. Without further ado, move you over here, and then where to go there? Got a lot of things open, so my computer is chugging a little bit. But we will get there. All right. There we go. It'll be 1 second, then we'll get started here with our top teams in the IPL. Okay. So the IPL 1000 is right around the corner, and you're curious to catch up as to what is meta, or at least getting a starting point as to what kind of team compositions you might want to build. Well, that's what we're going to be going over right here, right now. Thanks to a different website, actually. We're not going to be doing this in the team builder inside of Illuvium this time. This time we are going to be using Illuvium Vault, which was a website that was just brought to my attention by the owner, Linky, not too long ago. And this feature here is the team planner or the team builder that I actually really enjoy using, and it's going to give me a better opportunity to kind of describe the teams as I'm going through them. Of course, first and foremost, of course, is that I am not a professional player myself. I am not going to tell you how to play the game. I'm just here to try and guide you into the initial right direction. You'll notice a lot of these aren't complete teams because there is room to splash in and get creative with whatever alluvials you do into using or what you might just happen to get that game. So always something to keep in mind as we have number 5 here, which is going to return from the last couple of weeks. This is going to be your Harbinger Steam style, which is basically centered around this Umber, making this thing an absolute beast, throwing all of your augments onto it. And one thing I learned over the last IPL, actually, throwing your attack damage augments onto the Umber, because I was mistaken a little bit in a couple of videos where I'm saying you want to buff this thing up with Omega Power. That is completely wrong. It actually does not scale. Its ability does not scale very well off of Omega Power. So, get attack damage on this thing, and it turn it into a snowballing monstrosity. And with this, your Ranger is going to be getting the Aqua Blaster as their weapon. It's a little bit small here. I'm going to try and see if I can maybe buff this up a little bit. Do this live. It's not going to do it that way, so let's do it to this. We'll do it live, but there we go. Probably about as big as I can get it for now. Okay, want to get the Aqua Blaster on this thing, eventually bonding yourself to your Singe or to your Seer if you happen to find it. This way you get 2 Steam extremely quickly, and it will be able to help this Umber in terms of snowballing. You do have some additional backup here as well. Of course, Mamu is going to be here for that 3rd Harbinger once you get it evolved. I would have the fully evolved one, but it looks like the picture for it is not showing up here. But you do need to fully evolve the Mammoth if you do want to get Harbinger 3. If you want to get Steam up to 3, which I definitely recommend, you do end up needing Dual F, which is, of course, a Tier 5 fully evolved Alluvial. So that is going to be rather expensive, but at least in the early game, your units are relatively solid and they're relatively cheap. Getting the Axodon, or even just getting Axon, you just need Axon and Caradulo. I have the fully evolved ones here, but you can get away with the middle evolutions. Allows for some very early tank. You can early on make your get your Ranger bounded to any of those tanks to get Harbinger buff. Having 2 Harbinger extremely early is definitely quite nice. Eventually transferring over into bonding with the Flare or the Singe or Seer, of course, to get Steam. But you can run with even something like Toxic. If you happen to add, like, Splash on here, let's say, let's throw Gnarl into the picture. If you wanted to, very early on, while you're waiting for Steam, you could do something like grabbing a nature-based tank and having it onto the field, bonding with that. So whether that be Crunk or Twine or anything like that, I have Gnarl here in this instance, but this could absolutely work. You could bind with them to get Toxic extremely quickly. I wasn't looking for a Greater Monk here. What are you doing here? There we go. Something like that. So you can bond with a nature tank and get Toxic Harbinger, which is going to carry you through the mid game rather comfortably, but not like completely outstanding, unless you do end up finding the Riptorus relatively quickly, or you do find a Rake relatively quickly, which isn't necessarily a guarantee. And then the wrap up the kind of squad in terms of support, you do have the Gazier or the Flood or the Ebb. You want some sort of additional healing, or at the very, very least, you use this thing to absorb other Invoker shots, say maybe other Sinolfs or other spellcasters. Just have it there to help deflect and help mitigate the damage and heal your team up at the same time, so that when it comes to the late game, that is when you're going to shine. Majority of your Illuvials here, when the game is in its late stage, will die relatively quickly. But it's all just a matter of, did you buy enough time to let Umber snowball? And if the answer is yes, you're doing the composition correctly. So that's number 5, of course, Harbinger Steam. That's got to be the earliest I've blamed Silent I've seen in a while. Hello, Gear. Welcome back. That's it. If I ever do get emotes, I need something of something in regards to blaming me. That'd be kind of funny. Number 4 here for our teams. We're going to hop on over in just a second here. This is going to be your Verdant Vanguard. So this here, you're just trying to rush 7 rogues and as quickly as possible and get your tank, get your Cling up to a Twine at the very least. Late game, you can absolutely grab the Gnarl, but the purpose of this Gnarl is literally just throw it to the wolves and let it die, so that the Verdant Puddle does end up getting plopped down in a dead center of the field. You'd eventually bind your Ranger to it as well. That's how you get Verdant very, very early as well. And then you just let your rogues go nuts. You have, of course, the Penguin, notoriously a very strong hyper carry if you do happen to have the augments to get the job done. But even some of these earlier stage Illuvials, like Exalted Gorilla, is so good at finding squishies, taking them down extremely quickly. The Gyro, or even just Revo, you just need Revo really to make this work. But once you get that plus a Quinks, being able to add dust to your team makes it so that it's basically a utility Illuvial by blinding other Illuvials. Jacondi almost acts like a pseudo tank of sorts. It does have some pretty decent damage too, don't get me wrong. But its ability to just pop in and out with its Omega ability going intargetable does kind of help distract. Rampfire, of course, is one of the kings of the game if you can happen to get it evolved, perfect for destroying bunker compositions. Alongside the big tank here on the rogue team, the Malura. This one is almost a must-have. This team is too squishy without it. You definitely want it. And additionally, it does have another Vanguard proc. So optimally, you can get up to 3 Vanguard with this without a chip, and having Slashin be the hyper carry. Quinks here, again, is just mainly for the dust buff, but it also does apply some additional crowd control when dealing with some of these heavy skill-based Illuvials, say your Invokers, for example. Twang and Twine sounds like an insult. Yeah, no, that's actually the name of the Illuvial itself. But no, you're not interrupting anything. All is good. Now, this team is anything but wet noodle fights. They absolutely will blow things up here. And in terms of the positioning itself with your rogues, you do have to take it match by match, round by round, depending on what you're going up against. And basically just trying to keep your Penguin, Malura, and Rampfire all within a safe space. The Gyro, the Monkier, or not the Monkier, but the Gorilla, and Chakondi, they can usually fend for themselves in a lot of different scenarios, but of course don't just throw them to the wolves. But if there's something that's going to have to tank, I would use one of the 3 that you see here on the left. But again, this is not me trying to tell you how to play the team, just to kind of guide you in the right direction. You get something like this, and you can absolutely blow up some teams, especially if they're contesting each other with a couple of these other builds that we'll go over in just a couple moments. Number 3, in terms of ranked usage, this was number 1 based strictly on IPL, but of course this is now based off of ranked usage, this is your Arcanite Inferno. This team, I do believe, if left uncontested, is probably the best team in the game right now. However, everybody knows that, so everybody is really trying to get a piece of this, and a lot of people try to just do it blindly, especially like above average competitive players, but maybe not like your top level players. They know that this is strong, they blindly go for it, then they realize 4 other people are going for it in the same lobby, nobody gets what they want, and they all end up dying. So keep this team in mind, but it is going to be heavily contested, of course, so do tread carefully. This does rely on getting your Ranger the Boomerang, or there is also the Scion Gauntlet that can be used in this instance, but it's going to be heavily revolved around Arctase very, very early here, or your Monarch. Getting Arctase extremely quickly will allow you to get Inferno very, very fast, so you'd be able to get that here with your Ranger. Eventually, if you do manage to find Ramp Fire, that is an additional Inferno that could be on there, but of course, again, Ramp Fire, Tier 5, Stage 3, fully evolved Illuvium, so that is very, very hard to come across, but you can at least pretty consistently, of course, get the 2 Infernos. But the big carry outside of Monarch, and if you happen, of course, to get Rampfire, that's great, but it's Scoriox. Getting a Scoriox, if you see a team in this meta right now where there's a Scoriox and a Monarch, it almost feels like the game's over. Unless their tank line is just way too weak or they're positioning poorly, because that is just so much damage. No bunker composition or tank comp can truly stop it. But again, the hindsight, of course, of it is that there is heavy contests with these units. Having the Singe or the Seer, whichever one you happen to have here, does also allow you to maybe spin off for a Magma style if maybe you're dealing with rogues. But for the Arcanite Inferno style in particular, if you have the Fighter Gauntlet, just pair it up with your Monarch or your Arctase and you'll be A-okay. Maybe even your Scoriox, that's totally fine. You'll get Arcanite to buff up your Scoriox. If you happen to have the Scion Gauntlet, that is okay. You can still do Arcanite Inferno by binding yourself to the Riley, whatever it happens to be. That could absolutely get the job done. I did also add Blasonite here. It is a fantastic support alluvial to boost the attack speed of anything it hits with its Omega. So being able to fire the Tornado through your Scoriox, through your Riley, Rampfight, Monarch, it's just all going to be a fantastic buff. And then, of course, you still have a little bit of room here for flexibility based off of what you need. I threw a Titan Aura on here, for example, getting a Goliath to have a tank. It absolutely be a fantastic addition. If you want more firepower, heck, go for a Fisto or something like that if you really, really want to. But you can get flexible with this because at your core, you have 6 fire, which of course is extremely powerful. The 2 Infernos, extremely powerful. Arcanite on top of that, extremely powerful. Heck, if you wanted to keep going with Arcanite, you could even bring Phosphorus into the fray as well, getting yourself another fighter, which could be absolutely devastating. So there are definitely many ways to do it. And in stretch situations where maybe you even find yourself a little bit behind and other people have Scorioxes already, maybe you can bypass Scoriox, go towards the bird instead. So it has plenty of options, plenty of flexibility, plenty of firepower. So it is extremely, extremely strong, and it's probably why I would consider it the best standalone team in the game, but expect it to be contested heavily. Stop dying, man. I am sick as heck here today. I'm trying my best to pursue and keep on going through here with the show. But yeah, you may see me mute and stop here and there for a bit of a choking session, yakking session. Got my cough drops here in front of me, alongside coffee. That's quite the combination, but we're getting it done. It's thankfully just a cold. I'm just a little bit stuffed up. But you can see me choke every once in a while. So, apologies. Thankfully, I've been good on the mute button, so. But if that happens, that's it. Thankfully, nothing too serious. Team number 2 in terms of ranked popularity going into this one. So this is going to be your Toxic Aegis style of build, relying heavily on getting Aegis and then getting a Rip Lance to an unstoppable point. Basically, early on, you're focused on getting your tanks. You might get smacked around a little bit, not gonna lie. You do pick up the Ripple Flail here for the Ranger, for the Bulwark water weapon. End up bonding yourself to your Archelion to get the Toxic and the Aegis buffs. And this way, basically anything that, of course, these two units are touching, whatever unit is closest, they will share some of their stats with, whether that be their tankiness, attack speed, or I think even attack damage, all gets buffed. So getting that, pumping it into a damage dealer, which in this instance here is going to be Rip Lance, that Toxic Berserker could go absolutely bonkers if left alone, especially if you eventually later on down the road end up getting Blotto, so that's the fully evolved version of Hetty. If you happen to get that, that is a third Aegis, and a very, very tanky Aegis at that can share its stats over. So this does take a little bit of time to ramp up, but eventually you get into a spot where Rip Lance becomes basically unstoppable. But even the late game, an option that can even happen here is, say if you do end up finding Phosphorus, you can change it so that you have, instead of Rip Lance being the super carry, switch that over to Phosphorus instead, and it can absolutely shred a bunker composition, shred fighters, shred rogues. It is extremely, extremely powerful. But you lose the Toxic there, but of course you're keeping Rip Lance anyway, so the Toxic is still going to be applied, but you would be then supercharging your Phosphorus. So it is absolutely devastating. If you want to add maybe a little bit of extra firepower for Rip Lance in particular, let's say we don't have Phosphorus right here, right now. Let the website load here for just a second. Yeah, we'll pretend that Phosphorus isn't here, but let's say, okay, we've got Rip Lance locked and loaded with our, say, 2 Aegises. What can we do for a little bit of extra firepower? A very, very easy pickup is actually Monk Gear. So getting this up to greater Monk Gear does add Berserker to your team, which just makes your Rip Lance that much crazier. So it can really propel you beautifully into the mid game, but you don't have a lot of firepower early because you're just going to have like an Archos, you'll have Axon and Caradulo, and that's basically it for a little bit. Your Ranger kind of becomes your pseudo carry of sorts in that instance. But once you find Riptor, once you get your Riptorus, it is an absolute monster. So it's an interesting one. I see this a ton on the ladder, and it makes sense why it's number 2 currently on our rankings for ranked usage and performance here as we get ready to go into the IPL. What is the website? This is Illuvium Vault. I am going to throw the link here in the chat in just a moment's time. Linky from the Illuvium community has been building their own website. I believe this is a 1, maybe 2-person project, and they've put this together. Is it 100% optimized? They acknowledge that. It's still being worked on. Like, it's taken me a little bit to move, say, units from one piece to the other. There's a little bit of a slow loading time there. But it's all stuff that is being improved on and is a one-man show. So shout out to Linky, shout out to Illuvium Vault for making this website and making this, what I'm doing right now, basically possible. I can absolutely do that, Gear. I threw it in the stream chat, but I can absolutely do that in just a moment as well. So you can play around with the battle board and concoct your own creations of sorts. Threw that over to you. There we go. And of course, once again, the one thing I do want to stress is I'm not here to tell you how to play the game. I'm just here to guide you into the right direction so that your creativity can then take over from there. So we have a lot of Luvios on the board, but you can splash things in and out. That's why a lot of these teams, when I'm talking about top teams, I don't put a full alluvial list for each team because there's a core center that you do need to focus on, but other things could absolutely be splashed in. You're on mobile, okay, you have to send it over via Discord. You're good. But of course, that was team number 2. How about the most used team that showed up big time in the IPL last weekend? And it looks like that's translating over into ranked play as well. And that is Invokers. The Spellcasters are finally having their time to shine. And if they get the opportunity to roll, they feel basically unbreakable, unstoppable. And it is a very scary instance here. You start yourself off by getting the Emberling Rod. This thing used to be terrible, and even still can sometimes be a little bit inconsistent. But being able to get the Emberling Rod, having the Nature attached to a Scion, that is a rare combination. The only other way that you can get a Nature Scion in the game is if a Flish is actually available as a tier 0, and I don't think you necessarily are wanting to run a tier 0 in your composition in the late game. So having the Emberling Rod is definitely clutch. You can start this thing off by going for Harbinger. So you can have an Axodon on the squad. I don't have it here necessarily this time by, but you absolutely could. Say maybe instead of the Caradulo, you can throw an Axon, or just have Axon as an addition. I'm going to throw Axodon in here, actually, just because this team has definitely been kind of beat to death over the last little bit. Let's put you down here. There we go. So you can very, very quickly have a Axon on the team. You don't have to invest into Axodon. I have it here just as a placeholder, but by having Caradulo on your team, as long as you bind yourself to basically any of your water tanks, so whether it be Caradulo, whether it happens to be Axodon or Axon, you would have Toxic extremely quickly. You'd have Harbinger extremely quickly, which of course Harbinger, the lower you get, the tankier you get, and the more damage your spells do. So your potential for late game clutch moments as the Ranger being your carry is much, much higher. It can help you survive that early game. Going into the mid game, it's kind of just trying to build your tank line as best as possible without actually spending and really rolling onto it. Like I have, say, Archelion here. You don't need Archelion. You can just stick with Archos and be completely fine. But with your tank line, you can have the middle stage evolutions and be fine for a while. And be completely fine. Of course, if you happen to invest and get some serious tanks, it could be incredible, but the main thing you want to invest in the early game at least, is going to be finding Sepphoris, which thankfully for the most part, outside of Invoker players, is not necessarily the most heavily contested unit. A lot of people will like splash and just grab Tianti relatively early, but they don't really go much further than that. So a couple of early rolls could very well lock you up to Sepphoris. Once you get Sepphoris, that's when you can attune yourself to the Sepphoris, and this way you now have what would end up being Bloom. So the Bloom's not going to do you anything off the rip, but you are going to get Invoker, and that is what's going to let you start snowballing and having each of your casts just hit that much harder and harder. Like getting into the later levels with a decent economy is going to be the goal here, because you do eventually want to get your Dual F, or at least a Sinalf, because that will get you Invoker. So the middle stage evolution there of Alfie could very well do it. But in order to get Invoker with the Squiz line, you do need a Fisto. So a very, very expensive unit. But even getting 3 Invokers, say you do end up finding Sinalf, which is a little bit easier, that is very, very scary to deal with. Heavy, heavy firepower, especially the longer the game goes on. Then it's just a matter of, okay, you've got the damage. Do you have the tank and sustain to actually hang on for some of these fights? Because you're going to be dealing with Arcanite Infernos. You're going to be dealing with Rogues and Unstoppable Rakes. Can you actually get the job done and shut those down, withstand the onslaught, and then after a couple seconds into the round, show up there with those big Ophisto Omegas, or that big shot from your Dual F? Heck, even your Ranger is still extremely valuable in the late game. So going for the Invoker style, this corner composition relies again on getting Sepphoris relatively early, then trying to bide your time, build your economy back up in the mid game so that you can then go nuts in the late game. Get yourself the Invokers, get yourself a good tank line, And if you find all of those pieces that you need, this feels unstoppable, and it's extremely satisfying to use. A little bit of a pain to try and counteract, because you need something to essentially screw with the backline. So Quinx's or the Fennec Fox is going to be absolutely necessary. Or you just need to find a way to shred tanks super quickly, which of course Scoriox, say for example, if the Arcanite Infernos could absolutely do. Phosphoruses as well. There are absolutely options to deal with this. This isn't, I guess, like truly like Rogue Revenant levels of busted, but it is very, very strong right now. And the last IPL put it on a bunch of people's radars. It's transferring over to ranked, so you damn well better at least know how to deal with it before you run into it yourself and find yourself up against the brick wall that is the 5 Bulwark with 3, maybe 4 Invokers. But with that, that is our top teams going into the IPL 1000, of course, happening later on this week. Friday, of course, again, is the sit and go qualifier, completely free to play. Anybody can join and try to take their crack at what is a massive prize pool, including as well some massive IPL points to try and get yourself into the World Championships, as the season is almost over, right around the corner. We've got this week, and then we've got the final cut, like last chance qualifier the week after. Then it's Worlds. So it should be an absolute great time. And we'll see. If next week we do end up getting a brand new patch, we'll see what we can do. Otherwise, next week we'll cover the teams once again, see what's changed, if anything's changed at all. But again, if this helped you, whether this be subscribing on YouTube or following on Twitch, whatever have you, would gladly, or it'd be a pleasure if you were to be able to subscribe or follow. And love to hang out with y'all again. But until then, I'll see you in the next video. But to those actually watching here live, we're not going anywhere. We are not done by any means. Kind of just using my opportunity here on stream to record the video. We'll get it up later. I appreciate the love here in the chat. Dennis, thank you, thank you, thank you. This should hopefully give newcomers something to just pick up and give it a shot. But at the same time, like I was saying before, I don't want to instruct you how to play the game. The creativity is half the fun, but I can at least give you the core. And a lot of these teams, I mean, like say for the Invokers, for example, the core is much more flushed out. You need tanks, you need Invokers. But some of these are very, very flexible. And that's what I love about Illuvium right now. It's been like this for a while. I think the only time I've ever felt that disheartened by, like, okay, it's literally like a flowchart was when Rogue Revenant was a thing. Excuse me. Awesome, I thank you all for the positivity. Thank you so much. Appreciate it so much. Next topic, of course, we're going to be tackling here today, or the next activity, is going to be hopping on over to Illuvium 0. Of course, my trusty spreadsheet is here as per usual, and we do have a bunch of different tasks that we can tackle. I've got the majority of my scanners all up to level 3, so I have, how many more? I think I said 4 earlier, I'm just going to double check. I've got to get Monarch, Lotto, Familiar, or Gazatap. 4 more Illuvials to complete my stage 3, or my tier 3 rather, set of biodata. Of course, all of my previous biodata here from tier 1s and 2s have all been caught on tier 1 plots, which of course is the lowest barrier to entry in terms of cost. So it's absolutely possible. Granted, it does take a lot of time, but been going at it for a while and we're getting there. We've almost got the full collection. We're going to keep trying to go here with the tier 3s all on tier 1 plots. I think I've got it open here already. Yes, I do. Halcyon C is where we're going to get started with. Hop on over. There we go. A couple of my scanners are already done. Some of them I might have to wait a little while. Maybe I'll have to do a little bit of a overtime show to get the rest of these in. But we do have right now a couple of, or all of my research labs, all of my scanners have been completed. Let's see. I am looking for an arcane drone, or arcane links drone. No dice here. How about our scanners? Can we find any of the tier 3s we're looking for today? Not on those ones. One more time. Nope, scanners are going to run up empty today, but that is a-okay. Now, how about for my suit and drone combos? I'm looking for Chikondi. Not going to happen. Axodon. Axodon Mozart. Axodon combo is done. Of course, 5% chance to actually find these blueprints when you do fire them off. And thankfully, successful at doing so. So let's hop on over back to spreadsheet here for just a moment's time. I lost my mouse. Where's Axodon? They are. We've got the suit. We've got the Mozart. We've got the combo. And it is checked off. Of course, I should probably adjust my feet so you can actually see what I'm talking about. But check mark now onto the combo. Just got to get Axon, and now that combination, or that entire line, is completed. How about Caradulox? I just need a drone for you. Not this time. Chikondi, nope, gonna run up empty. So, not gonna get it this time, bye. But we do at least got the Axodon, which I am very, very excited about. That is a suit and drone combination I think I'm actually going to want to make rather swiftly here. In fact, I might set it off right now. Gonna need a little bit of additional fuel for tomorrow's run, so let's get that situated. And let's see. Can we mint the Axodon mantle? The suit. Send it off. Axodon Mozart. The drone. Send it off. There we go, about a week's time. We will get the Axodon combo. That's your combo, Zalith? There you go. It's a fantastic one. I love that one. I don't have it made just yet. So I'm looking forward to getting this slowly but surely. This might require some overworld runs, though, in order to find. But thankfully, Axodons aren't as hard to find as they used to be. Of course, still a Stage 3 fully evolved unit. 30 minutes on the fuel. Let's hop over to Shard Bluff. Okay, so my scanners are so close to being done. What, 40? Okay. We might have to do a little bit of an overtime zero run around here. Cool down lap with zero. A couple of my passive fuels are here and ready. Pick those up, but I do have my research labs. So I'm looking for drones and I'm looking for armor of every lynx on this plot, which right now I have the Stoics, the Nimble, and Relentless. Let's see how this goes. Stoic, got a fact. Nimble, nope. Relentless, nope. Nimble, nope. Relentless, not this time. Gonna run up empty this time, but that's a-okay. Again, the marathon, not a sprint. I think similar nature here for this next one. How far? Yeah, 30 minutes. Yeah, we're going to need an Illuvium 0 cooldown lap later. Same thing here, but I do actually have the Arcane Ember links also going. Let's see. First one, no dice. Not this time. One scanner is complete, so let's send it off. Not going to end up getting it this time. Virtuous. Nope. Ember links. Got a fact for it, but no blueprints this time. Bye. Last but not least, in terms of the ones actually doing research, is my Taiga Boreal. Hop on over to Canada here for just a second. Got a bunch of research, and I think I have just the one scanner on this one. Oh no, I have a few. I forgot I basically have all of these evolved, so now with the exception of this one, I am just starved on silicone right now. Wish I had... Remember the old marketplace that you can actually get as a building in the game, and you can trade your carbon or whatever, your other resources for other resources? I definitely miss it, but I can imagine it probably got abused, so I get why it's not there anymore. Really missing it right now, though, because I would be trading like crazy. Dying a little bit. Alright, let's get to these scans. So Axon, I was saying earlier, the Axon drone, I believe it was, is the or suit. I can't remember. But I'm one away. Axon, are you there? Nope. Lester Gorilla, no. Exalted, I need drones or armors for you. Not gonna happen. Chuko, no, not this time. How about our scanners? This one is just set up for, I believe it has tier 3s as well. Let's see if we get it. Riptor, we do find Riptor, but I believe I already have that one. Can confirm I already have Riptor, but I am happy to have him anyway onto another plot. How about here, Vermilia? Finding 2 in 1 day is kind of crazy. Unfortunate here, I think I already do have Vermilia. Yes, I do. It's Vermiliaire that I need. Number 3, not gonna happen. The fact that we found 2, though, in 1 sitting is a fantastic day, so I'm not gonna complain there. This relatively new plot can help me produce those blueprints a little bit later down the road. Still got a little bit of tier 2s and whatnot to do before we get there. And of course the tier 1's almost done as well. Now, if it's on fuel, I don't need to go to Brightland Steps, the tier 3 one just yet. But I will go to the one, so this one eventually is getting turned into a video about how I'm speed running from a brand new plot to sending off my first blueprint. And I had my first scan 2 days ago, and on the first scan, we did actually find an Archie. So now, we found Archie, but can we actually find the blueprint? Let's see how it goes. We got the fact. I got excited there for a second. I saw it pop up. But now we're gonna get teased with the fact here. I need to keep these converters going. They're very, very small. And because I already found that, I'm just going to use the fuel to try Archie, or specifically the armor. Day 2 on it. Let's see if we can pull that off on the next stream. Did just finish my 0-point transducer on this one as well, because I'm not going to call the run complete until the blueprint is in my wallet. That's how I'm going to determine the completion. So still got a little bit of ways to go here. A little bit starved on resources. I'm not attending to my lands maybe as much as I should be for optimization, but still enough to at least keep the project going swiftly. Again, not enough resources, so the scans are going to stop. But in terms of what I need, basically got everything that I need done here. I've got one more plot I'm quickly going to just maintain here, which is my Crimson Wastes. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with this tier 1 plot in particular, because I don't really want to start building up scanners up to level 4 from scratch on this plot, but at the same time, just having a tier 1 be a fuel mine also feels like a waste. So what this plot is really waiting for is for when training gyms come out, because I will fill this thing with training gyms 100%. Clean up the plants real quick. And in terms of Illuvium 0, that's basically it. Gonna double check my tier 3 just to make sure that I was correct about the fuel not being ready. Yeah, I still got some time here, it looks like. A couple of my passives are done though, that's nice. Because yeah, the fact that, say for example, the tier 3, I have this set, these all at level 5, and I'm getting passively about 21 Krypton a week per unit. But because this is on a tier 3, it's that much. If it was on my tier 1 though, it would be like 11? So I feel bad having a tier 1 plot being just kind of a fuel mine right now. I mean, every little bit counts, but wish it could be more. It could be utilized a little bit more. All right. With that being said, Illuvium 0 is all set for the day, which means we've got ourselves about an hour and 15 minutes. I could probably squeak 2 games in. Hop on in first and foremost as we are queuing up. Let's just see how many people are here. We got 6. What am I wearing today? Black and yellow. Black and yellow. Lesser Monk here might be the way to go here for today. I'll rock the Lesser Monk here suit here for our first match this time. Hop in momentarily here. What? Do want to give a big thank you, actually. Whoa. Oh. Excuse me. Do want to give a big thank you. I don't know what happened over the last day or two, but we had a little bit of an influx in subscribers on the YouTube side of things. So massive thank you to everybody who might be new to the community, new to the guild here. Much appreciated for subscribing, and I hope you have a great time. Happy to have you. Come say hi if you would like, but of course, not mandatory. Slowly going to close a couple of these tabs here so my computer doesn't seize. One thing I also just realized, this entire time I've been playing Illuvium with 80% resolution scale. I understand now why people came into my stream and thinking that I was playing the game in potato mode. I actually had my graphics settings so brutally low that I was missing out a little bit. So I bumped it back up to the regular, bumped it back up to 100%. We'll see if the computer can handle it. And then I had motion blur on, so no wonder I was getting headaches. So I turned all that stuff down. And now we should be good. That is a lot of new faces here for this first game here of the day. Clebson is the only one I think I recognize. Always good to see a little bit of excitement, maybe some more people hopping on in here with the IPL 1000 and the final cut in the upcoming weekends. As to what we play, it looks like the game's going to decide for me. We are here on a basal basin where we get the 2 imprints right off the rip, and it's actually probably setting me up for my favorite playstyle, which is based on spellcasters. So this is looking good. Having the Scion imprint nice and early, and the nature for some tank. Could be a nice little setup here. What's the links today? Firefighter? Interesting. Let's see if we can make that work. Give that to you. We're just gonna buff up the Doka. Let's just make this guy a monster to start things off. And bring Fleesh in here as well. Maybe we can rush multiple Scion. Scoop those up. Getting the 2 attack augments, though, does throw a slight wrench into my plan. I think I need to go for fusion? I don't know. I'm kind of torn right now. It's so early to be torn. I'm gonna get greedy and just spend it immediately. Wrong route, wrong move, right move. Not sure. The real wrong move there is that I was not attuned to my Doka. I would love to have the 2 Scion, 2 fighters extremely early on into this fight. But the Cartel Pirate should be able to shut me down. I think either way, they actually did power level very, very quickly here, already up to level 4, so... Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna pick up a Tipo just in case I need some early empath stuff. Now we have some options. Gale and Bow here, I'm going to roll that one. Aqua Blaster would be the way to go in theory. The Nature Staff does make things interesting. I could go for Aegis. Well, it definitely needs to be water. Look at how much fire is on the board right now. Okay. Let's go for the Scions. Let's get this buffed up. Let's get up to level 4. I don't want to take too much heat early on into this fight. Lynx, get to the board. I've already got my Harbinger, so now I'm looking for Axon. This does help with my lack of damage early as well. The Scion Ranger does pack quite the punch. And that, plus the fact that we were an Illuvium up in that fight, would be nice to take down Mickle. Or Michael. A different way of spelling Michael. That reminds me, though, a fella I used to work with all the time for tournament organizations ended up becoming a TO for Pokemon. So he's a Pokemon professor named Young Mickle. One of the hardest working individuals I know. The weak combat rhythm is going to come on through here. It's probably a better option, but I was definitely hesitating there for a bit. Getting the fighter links, of course, is it actually a part of this team composition? Nah, it shouldn't be, but it's me. It's going to be a part of the team composition. Especially since I see nobody else with anything but baby lynxes. Clemson, Robson, hello again, welcome back. Second stream in a row I think I've had a game with Clemson. I feel like they're relatively new, but yet still very formidable. Okay. But the Tofi has shown up here. That is eventually one of the things I'm going to want to roll for if I am going to truly go for Invoker. Let's see, Valente is going to dive on through. I should probably move my Ranger back a little bit. I had it point blank there with their links. That wouldn't have been very good. I mean, the T-Roo is poking at my Ranger, but let's be honest, this thing's just a meat shield. It shall just fall as soon as my guys actually look at it. Link's still very, very healthy, taking a lot of heat. Good shot from the Flish. Getting charmed over and over again is definitely annoying, but now that the firepower is gone, it's just a matter of dealing with the Winks and the Groot Cub. We've got that one. We'll take it. Hey. Other Lynx on board. Setting myself up nicely for when I do inevitably go crazy here. Not worried about snagging any other of these zeros. I'll keep the Atipo there just in case. And based off of the economy, I will not roll immediately. I will wait until after the carousel. And of course, a reminder, this is probably one of the last tournaments that we're going to get to actually play with this carousel, because it is going to be removed from the game in the next patch. All in an effort to try and speed up the game time. Definitely understand it, and it's a welcome change in my opinion. A Clemson stole my links, so I'm going to end up going for the Tofi instead. Not only to try and get Tianti a little bit quicker, but it does also have that yellow augment on top of it. That's for Omega Power, Ability Power, Spell Power, however you want to call it. Clemson looks like they're going to fight me for the links. I say no, sir. It's time to start going. Alright, so that's huge. Axon is here. We'll take that. Tianti is here. Finding Caribou is quite nice as well. That is a lot of them at that. Atipo, you can go. Do I have any room for what I want? That was a pretty sick roll down, if I do say so myself. I was not thinking about card locks at all, but it is actually going to be a potential opportunity here for me. I was not paying attention to my actual battle on hand, though. So it's a little bit frustrating. I do need to pause and think about what I want to do here, though. Because I need to snag links. Has me 1 links away from my Relentless. And I optimally would love to have a Carrot Blue here as well. I think we remove Archie. Unlock the shop. There we go. So I'm 1 away from 2 valuable Illuvials. And I'll still take that one. Carrotalox is here. Can I find the links? I'm not going to, but I'm going to get myself at least an Artitofi. So let's get some of these units actually organized. I do need to bond myself. Don't have anything nature-based as of right now. At least not naturally nature-based, which is irritating. Get some magic augments going here. There's my engine. I'll take the engine. Move that. So we have 1 away from links, 2 away from our invoker. What will replace the links? We'll have to see if that's what you're referring to, what will replace it. Because I'll just ride the links until it starts obviously becoming a problem. But say if I do need a 5th Scion and I still have the links, and I happen to have like Octius sitting on my bench, it's time to move on. That's what I love about the links. I'll pick them up in every game I can, because I know they're going to be handy. I know they are going to do their job and be damn well beautiful while doing it as well. Fully evolved. Relentless Ember Lynx is here. And I will make it a Scion as well, just because screw this, I have an imprint. Still here just watching bad gameplay? Yep, absolutely. Do I recommend anybody actually doing this? Not a chance in hell. Is this strategy kind of terrible? Maybe. Is it fun, though? I enjoy it a lot. Look at this. I cannot complain about having a incredible little Ember Lynx shredding through my enemies. It might be a fighter on a spellcaster team, but screw the rules. I have a Lynx. Alright, leveling up our weapon here. I don't like the stun because it already has a tiny little stun built in. Stacking Omega Power might be nice for some scaling. Let's do that. Move over a couple of our Illuvials and our Ranger. Let's all huddle in the corner. Axon, you be the backline tank. Cardulox, you be the frontline tank. And then Lynx, well, you know what to do. How are we on Tianti competition? As of right now, I don't see so I'm going to just roll. Bingo. There it is. I'll pick up the 2 Archies as well. So now I can actually start building economy here. That Gorilla is definitely messing up my day a little bit, though. Right on top. Oh, that's stunned. They have a Scarabok already? Come on. That beautiful find. Come on, Tianti. We need some damage. Okay, the main damage dealers are gone. Just got to deal with that Gorilla, which should end up going down. There it goes. Lynx is going to clean this up, as it always does. Okay, since I'm not likely having 5 bulwarks at least anytime soon, Fortress isn't necessarily on my radar. The imprint is nice. I think I'm going to do that. There we go. I'm going to actually do that for now. Speed up at choices for... Am I reading that right? Where they burned themselves gear? Is that what I'm reading? He basically burned themselves. Hey, well played. Sometimes we take those. Phasebreaker would be good right now, but what about later? Is what I'm worried about now. Think I need to... Thinking of the later game, I'm going to go for the burning and the toxic side of this. What just happened? I just put my, whatchamacallit on it. Well, let's do that. I just moved augments. How did that happen? Okay, well, in this instance, Fleesh, hold this. Give my guys a buff. And go forth, I suppose. I'm just hanging on for just a second. Invoker could very well be made in this moment. I'm just kind of utilizing the Harbinger a little bit longer. And we will clean that up nicely. Excuse me. The spell just says you lose the game. Well, I guess that was an all-in that didn't necessarily go into their favor then. In regards to this mid-game, we're setting ourselves up pretty decently. And I have kind of a combination of a few different things going on. So optimally, of course, if you're going Invokers, you would rather have the Emberling Rod to get the Verdant. But I think I might actually try this with a water-based style. See how this goes. Okay, well there you go. You take those. Absolutely. Give a little bit of room for my ranger to move. I do see a rogue. Clemson Rock in the Arcanite Inferno, it looks like. That poor Cardalox got absolutely shredded. There's a ton of damage here. And this is just Arcanite Inferno, right? It is absolutely brutal to have to try and deal with. They did have 2 levels up on me, so okay, fair enough. I'm not going to cry foul by any means. Eating my own words a little bit, saying, oh yeah, I'm set up pretty good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Clemson just pushes my shit in. There you go. That's how it goes, I guess. We'll probably get level 6 on this time by. That Scion imprint being there, if that stays there, that would be incredible. Michael! Michael, please! Literally, as I say that, does end up getting snagged. I think I know what I'm going to end up trying to grab, though. As I say that, it does get snagged from me. So I'll take Vermilia. I'm just going to sell it. Take the tank augment. 3 extra coins in the pocket. And then, let's see, we'll level up the once. Get us up to level 6. Let's sell the Vermilia. I can bring the healers into the composition now, but I don't want it to be the one getting buffed by Fleesh's augment. Do something like this. Let's get my links to the back line to help fight. I don't want it to go face first into the dash right away. But I'm instead going to put it face first into a Vermilio and a Ramphy, apparently. Some good damage done. It is going to sit in the fire. Thankfully, not terrible amount of damage. The dash is still there inside the back line. Fleesh does go down. But enough of these casts are coming on through. There we go. That charm actually helped me shoot the dash. some great damage from Sepphoris, but we're getting to a very, very scary point where we got a bit of a runaway bear. This shot isn't going to end up going to the bear, is it? It's going to go into that Appon. Yeah. Had that gone into the bear, it would have been perfect, but it goes for the furthest target, which in that case was the Appon. Need a little bit more tank, and I think Gnarl would be just the thing I'm looking for. Turtleox, hold middle. I'm gonna do something like this for now. The Lynx ends up kind of being a pseudo tank in this instance. I'm gonna move it on over because I do want it to shut down the Penguin as fast as possible. It's a little bit risky. It's gonna go right into my Flish, actually. The Lynx opted to go for the Seer instead, but it will now turn, and we should be able to actually burn this Penguin. There we go. Last minute move there on the Lynx, being able to help support, definitely nice. Shots from the Sepphoris. Good damage, good damage. We should be able to clean this up. Yeah, this is weird. Because I have the Aqua Blaster, like, in theory, I should be focusing on Steam, but I'm not going to be focusing on Steam. Do kind of want to go Invoker. NPC round, this will probably get me to maximum interest, so I'm going to start raking in the economy nicely. There's already one Sinalph on the board there from Alpha, but they are having a hard time. How many rakes are those? One dash. To be fair, not very many rakes either. Energy crates, this is what I'm looking for. Let's get the Omega Power per second with Omnivamp. And the healing one, or the attack speed one, or just an additional boost. We'll have to put that on hold here. Let's take a look. Mega gain attack speed. Does this go into Emberling Rod? No, it is not. It's going to go to Earth Grasp. So I'll keep the Aqua Blaster. I think. I'm a little torn, to be honest. Well, let's keep the keep that with resistance piercing. Let's get the healing, I suppose. Throw it onto you. Let's give you that. Give you. Turn you into a Bulwark, Lynx. And then I'm going to put the rest of my coin into my level, so that upon the next level, we will then have 5th Scion. Unless I need tank, then I can just add another Bulwark in there. Yeah, Sepphoris should be able to pump out a ton of damage off the rip here. Giving it the damage augments the engine as well, so it's going to be pumping out shots just that much faster. Yes, I know there's still just a little Archie here, but the little Archie is giving just enough of a little heal to keep everybody nice and safe. Lynx is doing a fantastic job at being a tank. It's finally going to go down, but it's done what it needs to do, in my opinion. Sepphoris should be able to clean this up. Big damage. There we go. Do I want the Omnivamp? Max health is Omega Power or attack speed? I think just the Omnivamp, just to kind of keep me going because my healing is a little lackluster right now. A lot of a Fury kind of makes things interesting here as well. There's our level. Sepphoris kind of does this. Squeeze comes on out to play. What I would need, actually. That wasn't optimal at all, but I was trying to move my valuable units around. I'm going to end up sacrificing the Fleesh, but to be fair, that is fine in this instance. Matter of dealing with this Rake. They do have a Sinalph. I was not paying attention to their bunker composition. which I am notoriously terrible at doing that for. The fact that the Sephora shot did not go into the Umber was kind of concerning, and now as the rest of these shots come on through, I will definitely get punished for not paying enough attention to Alpha's squad. Kinda lined up for this and off there, I'm not going to lie. Mamu is definitely welcome to be here. That is going to replace Flish. 100% that replaces Flish. Might be a Scion, but it's technically a tank in my book. And given the scenario of our team, I'm going to replace Archie with the Ebe instead. If I do happen to evolve Archie, I'll put it back. But I think just overall value right now from the entire field will come from Ebe. It doesn't attack. It just kind of sits there and tanks. That's going to be the second Sinolf beam I line up for and not pay attention for. Definitely unfortunate. Fine, get a few of these at least here. This is to be expected, of course. I spent a lot of time not rolling and just building my economy back up. So I'll get beat on just a little bit. And in fact, being at 50... How much do I need? A little bit more? Okay. Think of how do I want to handle that? Trying to do a little bit better at actually gauging some of my opponent's alluvials here. We did lose JLHF, so they're going to be the first one eliminated here in this one. That Jotun is kind of scary, though, on the right-hand side. The double shield, once it gets knocked down to 40%, it's going to make it a hard alluvial to actually get the finishing blow onto, unless we can hit it with a bunch of our Omegas. Mammoth is not going to get the shunt off in time, so there's that big shield. That's what I was worried about. Yeah, finding that big old tier 4 fully evolved Jotun, kind of scary. Lynx did a good job of tanking, but was not tanking the Jotun. The Alfie being there is nice. I would love to be able to go for that. But given that there's so many Alfies on the field, trying to get this thing evolved is going to be difficult. It will get sniped from me, so I'm going to take Abe instead. If I can get that evolved into a Flood, maybe get a little bit of extra healing, a little bit of extra tank in that regard. Very, very low lobby here. 35 is where I'm standing right now when I'm third. Alpha is on a run. There is the Archos. I think for now I then do this. Do something like that for now. After this NPC round, I will level up again, and now I actually have to start looking for alluvials. Considering the amount of Sinolfs that are on the board, trying to find it is going to be difficult. But the one thing that I can maybe try and make a push for is Octius, but it is not going to be an Invoker, and Mikkel is currently holding a handful of them, so it isn't going to be a clear-cut option here. Ebe is now here. Let's level on up. With that level up happening, you can come back, Flood. Yeah, it's time to start actually playing the game now. And I'm going to, I guess, commit to this bunker. The AoE mitigation added on everything here. Let's commit that into an emergency button. Emergency button this here. And we'll go like that for now. So with these two augments that I did pick up, these steadfast void reactors, the longer this Archos stays alive, the more mitigation, so the damage reduction it's going to be giving to everybody around me. And it's also a healer, so it's going to make these backline units of mine that should be rather squishy a little bit tankier. Exception, though, is a fully loaded Octius, but this is why we keep the links. There we go. The big red button. What do we do if we say, well, if I don't press it, I die. If I press it, I die. So, might as well at least have a little fun while we're at it. Mikkel, with that loss, does go down, which means those Octiuses are now on the board. Or not on the board, but back in the shop. And we are going to go search. Alright, Mamu is here. A little bit of a level up in that regard. Octius is here. I'm going to move these augments over now. Squiz is no longer the support. That is a scary Umber, though. Do have the Fury, Alex, if I want to end up going that route. I do very well could. Thinking about it. Okay, bunkered up as best as I can, but this Umber is going to be scary. BB for A. Can they break the line here? Umber versus the Lynx, but even when it pops its Omega, my Lynx can't go anywhere. It's going to stay on the Umber. That is exactly what I need. The Umber is going to end up falling. That's huge, actually, but that's still a lot of rogues. I still have the Octius for the time being, though. I don't have heals. Shots fired. Resets. We need them now. And there we go. Sephoris, hang on there. One more shot. Big shot. Resets. We get it. And that is the elimination. They would have had that fight if they didn't leave the Illuvio, if they did not leave the Umber where they put it. My Lynx could not move anywhere in that instance. It was trapped by my own tank, my own Archos, and there was nothing that they could do. So Cartel, they've been doing pretty solid. They have the Invoker, but there is a flaw in this composition. And I'm just going to move Flood all the way off to the side to try to abuse it. That's Sinolf. I mean, when I'm all comboed up like this in the corner, a Sinolf beam would be really brutal if it didn't just go all the way off to the side and miss everybody but my tanky Flood. There we go. Nice shot there from the Ranger to shut down the Invokers. Yeet that Lalura out of the way. And we're getting tankier, we're getting stronger, and we have the heals to boot. We should be able to hold. I eliminated somebody else. That's what I was referring to, Gear. Sorry. The Cartel. They will not be able to break the bunker this time. Their big damage dealer went right into my Flood. It's not going to be as easy this time, though, because of the positioning of their Invokers. I thought you were actually being genuine in regards to the question. No, you're good, Gear. You're good. Okay, so this time, like, I need to spread this out a little bit, Sinelf. Snuggle. I tried 3 times to click my Flood and it did not work. I would have tried to put it back into the corner. Flood is going to get immediately mogged by the Ranger that did pop in and out. And given that positioning there from the Sinolf, it did a fantastic job of taking down a lot of my Alluvials. We do have them very, very low, but between the Umber and the rest of the squad, we will end up going down here. 16 HP. Means we need to get the move. In fact, we're right here with the Empaths as well. Sinolf now, go for Tsunami Ranger. That might not be a bad idea. There's not many on the board. Alright, the play's in mind. Gonna make a slight adjustment to that plan, though. I'm going to hang on until these empaths are collected. Lynx is still here. I know it's a Scion team. I don't care. We've got the Lynx still here. It's kind of turning into quite the little tank for ourselves, so I'm quite happy with its performance here today. Shield crate, max health, let's go for it. We've got a boatload of coin. Hey, let's not lag out now. We cannot lag out now. We need to level. Best opportunity for finding Sinolf is now. There's 1. 2. There's the 3rd. Support crates. More heals. Going up against a ramp fire, this is kind of terrifying, I'm not gonna lie. Okay. The Tsunami Invoker is here, and unfortunately, the last minute move there from Caleb is going to make it so that my Sinolf is going to get immediately evaporated, but at least we got the beam off to do a little bit of damage. Of course, we go down, we die. That's a lot of low health bars. We need resets. There's a lot of low health bars. We need these resets. We need them now. And it is not going to end up going into our favor. That was a tough squad. Clemson with the victory here. And I think that's a 2nd place for us. So not too shabby. It was not a bad idea. I definitely would have gone down no matter what. But I will take the 2nd. GG's. It was a valiant effort. A little bit of an untraditional Invoker style. Of course, again, normally you would do something like that with the Emberling Rod. You would focus a lot more on a corner comp. You would focus a lot more about sustain. Like, I barely had really any healing for half of that game. I eventually started getting it a little bit later. And then just having some subtle moves, moving some things off to the side when you need to deal with other Sinolfs and such like that. But the lack of Verdant kind of got made up for a little bit by the Flood being there, as well as those 2 Steadfast Void Reactors, just making my units tankier, but still was missing a lot of healing. There's the elimination. Yep. It will take 2nd, though. I'm alright with that. Well on our way here in the Battle Pass as well. To me, the end goal is just getting to the battle board. We're right there. Well on our way, so got plenty of time to get that done as well. I talk about the game a lot, but I never said I was good at it. There's a reason when I talk about the top teams of the game, I'm always going by IPL or ranked ladder. And it's also kind of why I always say I'm not a professional player, and I'm giving you the core, but I'm not telling you how to play the comp. Giving me hell as always, Gear. All in good fun, though, I know. I know there's a reason why I say the one time that I did try to qualify for the IPL on stream, I burnt out. I could not do it. Some of these players are just built different, being able to be a top performer, not just the once, but consistently throughout the entire weekend. Let's see, Halcyon C, we're getting an additional 3 credits every round. We're going to be rich. And the Hydro links this time, Relentless Hydro links, so it's going to be a fighter again. I have an idea, and I'm already kind of building that way for it. Holy moly, hello Valente. Went for the fusion. I did not get any of the fusion crates, or not crates, the fusion augments that I was looking for. Do something like that. Clebson, hello again. Nah, I'm just wait until the Dokas come around. I'll be broke again. But of course, the weapon determines everything in this game in terms of what kind of compositions can we go for. I think personally the best case, given the way that this started, would be if we got to see Ripple Flail again. If we found that, Toxic Aegis could be on the board. We're not going to fight it, but the backup option is that. So, Ripple Flail is here. There we go. Okay, so to start this off, I'm going to give Valente a dive buddy, which it will be my ranger. This can go over here. I'm not going to end up using Flish. Just kind of do something like this. 1 level to get to 4. You know what? Multiple dive buddies. Their Valente is going to literally dive into nobody. The baby Valente is going to end up going after Big Bro here in just a second's time. Doing a little bit of damage, but a Rage Dagger with a far more powerful team, apparently, to start this one off. Not sure if I just had a bad idea, or if they're just that good. Granted, that's a lot of middle evolutions, so I won't beat myself up too much about it. The fighter imprint is actually huge here. Let's take a look and see. Oh, but so is attack speed. Oh, I am not sure. I think just a fighter imprint. Thinking fighter imprint, and with Axon being here, Axon to infinity. Let's go. Diving directly into those fist fighters, which is not optimal, but let's see if we can get this Lynx down beforehand. There we go, before it even got the chance to use its Omega. But Chocoral is going to be a little bit rough for my Valente to try and deal with now that the untargetable procs goes directly in front of him. We need that silence quickly. Oh, good chunk. Now we're gonna lose this one. Damn. So the early game is going to be a little bit weird, but going into the mid game, we should be in a much better position. Finding Baby Lynx is going to let me put it onto the board now, give you the fighter imprints for now. David Radu, someone who's new to me, but apparently part of Phantom. Leading this lobby rather convincingly so far alongside 9-2. Lynx check. This is definitely a little bit worrisome in terms of my Lynx plays. Seeing both David and Chen Fong both having a Lynx. They don't have any more on the bench, but But still having the middle evolution is going to make things a little bit difficult. That ends up being something I want to commit into. I'm going to clean my bench up a little bit. Because, of course, it is Doka time. Caradulo is here. Do the 1 level. Three other players using water. Clemson also having a Caradulo in this instance. Thankfully that was just an AI round, because I leveled up and then didn't actually put a unit on the board. Whoopsie. I do get first dibs. I see the carry. Riptor is here. Brings alongside with them an air imprint that is not going to be much value for me, to be completely honest. But I'm just happy to get Riptor right now. I need to get myself to level 7. And then start trying to find these Riptors rather quickly. Because for what they might get in Lynxes, I'm going to try and get in Riptors. So I'm actually going to go against my normal play style here. About chasing a Lynx. And will instead do something like this. You can go here. Fighter, fighter. This needs to be an emergency button. I do not get it, but I do get at least a sustain variant. Go, 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 go. Okay, Riptor's on the far side. That Caradulo, even though it's a tank, just gets absolutely shredded. That is a fast level 7 as well. 6 fire. Okay, we're getting wrecked this time. But we are now at maximum economy, so I can start in wealthy nature being able to put money towards my level. Whoa. Finding the Lynx is a nice bonus here. I was definitely not expecting to be able to do so, but I'll gladly accept. Let's get ourselves up to the next level. Because I have nobody better, I will put Valente onto the board. And just do something like this for now. Clemson, a little bit of a micro bunker going on through here this time. Does kind of spread out, so at least they're not going to all be within range of the Atipo's shielding. My Lynx literally took a Sunday stroll in this fight here, so it's only starting to find value now. But I think we might just have enough firepower to break through here. It's definitely nice because I didn't have to blow much credit-wise to really get that win. If a Lynx appears, I shall take it, but I am not going to roll for it. I'll keep telling myself I will not roll for it. I will not roll for it. I don't have issues. I don't have issues, I promise. Air gives you what? This is attack speed? Okay. Okay. Bump it on down. About halfway through level 6 now. Oh, I know. I know. 100%. Lynx is inadvertently going to start getting tackled here, though, unfortunately. Got out in front of my tanks, so now they're going to end up going down. Okay. In terms of the weapon empowered, no energy, no. Where's the splash? There it is. There's the splash damage. No mistake, going to be picking up that one there. Debating on maybe snagging Kling here. Replacing Valente. Just opting for some additional tank. That is... oh god. We have a Exalted Monk here, eh? Gonna be slightly delayed. Who's got Riptor? Anybody? Nobody as of right now. We're gonna probably get beat on for a little bit, but this should turn around. Hopefully sooner rather than later. A couple big pieces missing here. Like, I still don't have Archelion, or not Archelion, but Archos. So I don't have Aegis yet, which is definitely a little frustrating. How many Archoses do we have? It's just AI Blaze? Oh no, Full Metal Rat has one too. Yeah, that definitely hurt. 5,000 damage there on that monkey. Not even a mud team either, it's just Berserker. Okay. Okay, damage, restoration, no thank you. Omnivamp's definitely nice. That is the way we'll go. Riptorus is here, this is huge. Now I need to level. Let's get Hetty online. This gives me 5 bulwarks, actually. Something like this. Let's move these back on over. And then the next rounds, I need to start making some rolls. We're looking for the evolution, a couple of evolutions. Getting Hetty, getting Kling, getting the axe on there for my Atlas. Any more Riptors that I can find, and then Archos. So we need 5 different things within the next couple of rolls, which is asking a ton, so we'll have to see how this goes here. Resistances for attacking holder. I will do that because we have the full bulwarks. There is the attack speed on using Omega. This is good. Atlas. Riptor. Hetty. Caribou I'm not so necessarily worried about. Okay, there's the evolution for the Atlas. Evolution for the Lynx is here as well. And we'll level it up to Hetty. And snag the other Lynx here in this instance. I'm not at full... whatchamacallit, not at full economy. Not at 70 by any means. But this should still be good. See if they can just whittle themselves down on my tanks. Of course, now that I hit the 5 bulwarks, my tanks do a little bit of extra reflective damage back at these units based off of their resistances. So it will work out nicely. Taking care of Rage Dagger this time, even though they are a level ahead of me. Clemson's getting beat on this time. Did they go for mud and just not hit? That's frustrating. Storing HP, sure, we're gonna keep on looking. The whack that I'm finding these tier 5s before I'm finding Archos. And I do kind of want foe. That's weird. So I want economy, I want to be able to build it. I want to be safer for the later game. But at the same time, I'm being fed all of these like actual relatively good options. If it wasn't last second, I'd probably even take Archie off given this instance. My carries are off against this lure. I didn't even... oh, I did get the charm off, but it didn't get the damage off, oddly enough. That's probably the first time I've seen that interaction happen. Tanks are doing alright through the penguin. And Super Scorpion coming on through. Of course, it gets more attack speed every single time it fires off that sting, thanks to the way that it's augmented. Any chance there's an Archie in here? There is not, so frustrating indeed. Still having a hard time actually locking down Aegis. I'm doing okay, all things considered, but this team could be much, much stronger. On getting my Riptor stolen, I am going to race for that Heady. We are going to get it. Of course, being able to maybe find a Blotto in this later game for a third Aegis would be incredible if I can at least even find the second Aegis. Because this is unfortunate. I might out of luck here. I mean, hello, beautiful. We're gonna have the Lynx join us. Can't complain about that. Alright, guys, snuggle over. Can you let my one ranger go through, force my other fighters to go around the long way? Or just deal with the Vermilio. This works. There. Rip Lance gets a chance to charge up 2 of these Omegas. Gonna go over to that chicken and just take a nice smack at it. My units are still relatively healthy, all things considered. Riptor's looking good. Lynx is looking good. There is a Riptor on the board. I will gladly take that. So focused on trying to find Heady and find the Archie that I didn't even notice that the Riptor was sitting there waiting for me on the board. There is another Riptorus here. That's AI Blaze holding on to that. I don't think they're actually going for the Rip Lance, so I'm okay in that regard. Archie is finally here. Holy smokes, can we find another Riptor? We can, it looks like. One more Riptor. Move you over. Yeah, I'm definitely starting to get annoyed. This is definitely hurting. I will replace you for foe. Just do Toxic Behemoth for now, I guess. Because the Archie heals are negligible in this instance. Even if it could just pump out a little bit of damage before dying, that's more than enough. That Ranger coming back to attack my Riptorus is kind of annoying. I need my Ranger to get back there and start backing it up, but these blinds are so annoying. It's going to hang on by a thread. I think we could still be in trouble. I need one more shot. Can we get onto the right carries? No, we actually went onto their Riptor instead of the monkey, so we will end up taking the shot there. Need one more Archie. This is such an irritating position. I think there's 2 of them on the board, and I don't know if they're both trying to go for it or what, but like, even right now, I still kind of need to be looking. Oh my Christ. Okay, we do finally find it. We can actually start using this composition now. Okay. Supercharged Riptor. Heck, I could even have a supercharged Lynx if I really, really felt like it. But no, we will try to do this composition properly. Let's try to use Riptor. We almost have Rip Lance, which would be absolutely incredible if we could find that next. Synergy. I think just get Empath for the extra shield, or do I get some tank? I think we'll go for the tank for the resistances as soon as it comes back. Let's heal. That's Bulwark. Lynx, similar to last time, you're going to also be a tank of sorts. Where are the rest of my augments here? Let's bring it on over to this one for now. I still need to be looking. What are these squeezes? I feel like I'm almost stupid to not be going for them at this point. 1. You're kidding. Given the composition, Do something like this. Because there is no divers, screw it. We'll put Lynx on the bench for a second. See if we can let Octius go on through. I did not expect the Ranger to be diving on through. See if our Octius can find some final shots here. There's a lot of low health bars, but we lost the majority of our carries. I didn't even see that lightning go off. I think it got stopped by the Gnarl. That didn't work out at all. Did not quite work out. We're going to end up going over for the attack speed this time. Let's bring you back. Lynx, I'm sorry I ever doubted you. Foe is here. What's AI Blaze got in terms of Riptoruses? Oh, they're close too. I can't be waiting anymore, I don't think. Gonna go down to 50. Didn't find a single damn thing. That one definitely hurt a little bit. Oh, Riptorus, you're not even doing anything, my friends. Come on. Right inside the ramp fight. We will get blown up big time. That one hurt. Oh, I didn't even consider Chanfong. Oh, I blew a lot of coins. Blew a lot of coins for something that was heavily contested. And now I'm that juicy target where people are just waiting for me to die so they can start rolling. So I honestly probably need to level instead here. It's definitely feeling that way right now. Gonna do a bit of a change of pace. Let's buff the bird instead. You can go here. I don't want to die, not now, not yet. I didn't place it in time. Is it at least behind? No, it's gonna go all the way over there. At least the foe is quick, but it's literally just dancing around. Come on, buddy. Couple of shocks. Get rid of this Vermilier for me, please. There we go. Come on. Tanks are holding the line, at least. Come on, foe. Yeah, I've got no big red button this time either. What a charm. It's going to send me all the way to my death, I think. Full Metal Rat will knock me out big time. Did not work in my favor, but it is what it is. I think we're as low as 7th in that one. Yep. Any rating I would have got from the second last time just went out the window, but that is A-okay. It is just rating. Not every game goes into my favor. A couple of mistakes definitely could have learned from in that instance. I was pushing and rolling for things, not getting a proper look of what the actual landscape of the board was. I was expecting to find a Riplance because I saw AI Blaze had Riptorus, I saw they had the one on their bench, but there should in theory be more. I could have, in theory, then rolled, or I was thinking I could roll and still hit. I did not see Chanfong also with a Riptorus. So there was a very, very good chance that there may have been one more Riptor in the entire pool that I was rolling for. And that's very unlikely, to say the least, to actually hit that. So, a little bit of a fault there. I'm thankful I didn't spend all of my credits on that roll, but I definitely got punished. Both of my carries, both the Riptorus and the Forest, were both contested. Other people had Crunks as well, to trying to find my Aegis. So like how I was saying before, that the Toxic Aegis build is one that you'll see in your sit and goes quite a lot. This is Exhibit A of something that could happen if too many people are using the same strategy. You can absolutely box each other out. And look, because so many of us were fighting for water, for toxic ages, this is allowing for these fire teams, for example, to just build. Like, you can get away with 2 people running a fire team and not step on each other's toes that much. But when there's 4 teams kind of focused around water, Clemson went for the all-in, transitioning over into mud, but it didn't quite work out, unfortunately, there for them. But there was potentially 3 toxic Aegis players here in this game, and it didn't go very well. But that is alright. Now, if I recall correctly, we still had, I believe it was 1 more or 2 more plots that are due for blueprints or scanners. So we'll have the Illuvium 0 cooldown lap here as the last 10 minutes of stream. See if we could score something. Shout out to my wife for bringing some hot chocolate. Snuck some marshmallows in there as well. I wasn't paying attention and nearly choked on one. Okay. Brother. Aw. No, I've choked on a burger before, though. I nearly got taken out because the burger had too much cheese on it. Alright, there's here. Alright, there we go. Some scanners are available. So Illuvium 0 cooldown lap. Do I still have... Oh no, I did close my sheet, so gotta reopen that. Definitely glad I got a few days here before the IPL and can rest the voice a little bit. Hopefully I'm not hacking and yakking. During the IPL 1000, could be a bad time. That's always an exciting time, so I want to make sure that I'm 100% for it. Okay, scanners. So again, these are all tier 3, so I'm trying on... Or I'm going to be trying to get 4 specific alluvials. To complete my tier 3 collection, I need to find Monarch, Blotto, Vermiliere, and Gazetep. Means rest of it, no edit it. I still got a lot of work to do. I can't truly rest. Got a bunch of editing to do. And then when you got kiddos, rest is a little bit difficult. Let's see, can we score some of these tier 3s? We got Stab-In, which I do already have, but I'm happy to have it onto another plot. Nothing for the rest, it looks like. One more try. We got Ramp Fight, actually. I wasn't expecting that. My goodness, do I have a Ramp Fight? That is the second Ramp Fight I've gotten. Okay, so one of my other plots have it. I wasn't expecting the tier 5, but I'll gladly accept it. Okay, I think I had one more plot here. Basin, I believe, still had scanners going. Yeah, 4 of my scanners are still going. Let's see, same thing. Not for those 2. And nothing from those 2. So unfortunate, little anticlimactic, but that's okay. Can't win them all. Did I reset my fuel on the other plots? Now I'm paranoid. You can have as many plots as you can own, but of course there is the upfront cost about it. So, majority of my plots are tier 1, which are the entry level plots. They're the least expensive, and currently, I think you can get one for about like 60 bucks. So it's like the price of a full price game. And I have quite a few, but what I've also done is anything that I had made, or not everything, but a lot of what I've made in Illuvium, I've kept in Illuvium by just getting more plots. But, yeah, you can actually have as many as you can possibly have the time to keep track of. There are different tiers. Different tiers are definitely much more expensive, like going up, say, from a $60 tier 1, tier 2, you can basically expect to double that, tier 3, you can expect to double that, and so on and so forth. But the amount of fuel that you get is way higher the higher you go. And the more fuel that you get, you can then, once you have extra, you can burn it. So if you hear me referring to the term of burning fuel, this is what I'm talking about. Because then you get a cut of the fuel sales that Illuvium makes. So in theory, a long, like over time, you do eventually see a return. But it takes, obviously, a long time to get there, and especially with tier 1s, it does take quite a bit of time. If I was only going with, if I was burning fuel off of strictly tier 1 plots, it's probably just a couple cents a week or something along those lines. I don't go too heavily into it, it's not the main focus of why I do this. The blueprints, the skins, and the utility is. But it's a nice extra bonus. I got things for casting, like, I am compensated for casting the IPL, but I don't get anything free. I do not have any sort of insider information in regards to upcoming projects or anything along those lines. No free plots, no promotionals or anything along those lines. I'm personally not even a part of the Illuvium creator program. Like, I can, as like some people would just say, like, oh, use my referral code when you're in the shop and like I get a kickback. I don't even have that. Technically I could apply for it, but I just genuinely don't care to right now. Based off of their minimum requirements, I would not match it anyway. I think you need like 500 subscribers or something at the very, very minimal on like a YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or something along those lines, so I wouldn't meet the cut. So, if I don't meet the cut, I'm just not going to apply. Even, like, I'm sure I could, like, try to ask some people, see if I could pull some strings, but I don't see it that way. I need some other fuels here. I'm glad I took a double check at this here. Let's get these fired off. Otherwise I won't have enough fuel for tomorrow. That's what I'm saying, like, I'm sure exceptions could be made, but I don't want them, if that makes sense. The whole part of being silent, of course, and then being just the content creator that I am now, is that, like, sure, I have all of my experience from the past years in college esports and my content creation before college esports. I have all of that experience, so I know how to do it. But I need to prove to myself that I can do this off of my own merit without anybody's help. That is what I am trying my best to do. If there are those that then offer to give assistance, I will gladly accept. But I'm never going to be one to beg or to ask for exceptions, if that makes sense. And that's just it. All of y'all here in the chat, enjoying yourself, yous are helping. And I'm very, very thankful for that. extremely thankful for that. This entire Illuvium community, and even community outside of Illuvium, has just been very, very supportive, and I'm very, very thankful. It's like, if I really, really wanted to, like, I can go back on old accounts and say, hey, everybody, I'm doing this thing over here. Why don't you go follow me on my new channels or something along those lines? One, my old stuff wasn't even that big to begin with. I know I'd always make the joke that I'm probably the most experienced esports broadcaster that nobody's ever heard of. Because I just did not do a very good job of marketing myself during my time working college esports. I was very, very centered on making the brand, making the team look good. But there were many things that happened that I personally took myself out of. I mean, here, we can have some real talk for a sec. Like, it's a disgusting thought here with what happened, because, of course, when working college esports, I had a big problem with my landlord, for example. My ceiling would be caving in on me consistently, and it's really put a damper onto my entire mental. For 5 years, I was trying to fight a landlord to actually repair the roof. And one of the problems that came with that was just also the transfer of bugs. For about 6 years, when I'm trying to deal with the crappy cleanliness of the other people, because I don't live in a very, very nice place, to be completely frank with you. It's a really, really crappy apartment. But some of the old tenants were extremely disgusting. And they had bed bugs, so I got bed bugs. I was offered many times by my work to go to these big conventions, like NACE, for example, one of the big college esports leagues out there, NACE conventions, and like speak at these places and network and go traveling from convention to convention. I got offered all of that, but the problem is that I would have had to share a room with my coworkers, and I could not bear the thought of me giving my coworkers bed bugs. And it took 5 years for that roof to be fixed, and it took 5 years for the bed bugs to be eliminated. In that time, what it looked like to my employers was that he's not interested in improving. He just wants to do his thing. He's just coasting. But I was honestly just trying to be too nice. I wanted to go to these places. Yes, of course, I was also around the birth of my first son. So I very, very often wouldn't have them on my mind, especially because of the caving roof, especially because of the bugs, and then not wanting to infect my coworkers with bed bugs. I took myself out of those opportunities, but I never admitted to having bed bugs. And it's just brutal, and it was to the point where, like, if I wanted to say, like, oh, just has separate beds or separate rooms, I couldn't afford to get my own room, which would have been a possibility. But I just opted against, like, sharing a car with my coworkers, and it put me in a very, very isolated spot, where because I was caring about their own well-being so much, it destroyed me professionally. So to the point, like, even if I were to say, look at, or some people that may know me from my past work in college esports, they would probably see what I'm doing. First off, they would have seen me as a VTuber. They probably would have scoffed at that. And then, of course, unfortunately, as much as I love Illuvium, it does have that Web3 stigma attached to it. And I've gotten comments from people that have found me from my past time in college esports. It's like, oh, look at this guy, this guy's fall off. He's into crypto gaming now. Fucking scammer. And it's definitely frustrating, and there was a reason why, say from last February when I left/got fired with the college esports side of things. It took me a good 6 months before I could actually convince myself to keep going. And kind of started off with the VTuber side of things, transitioned more back into what I'm doing now back on camera, that was a big jump. But the only reason I was able to make this big jump is because Illuvium wanted me to be in person, wanted me to be on camera, and they would have listened to, I think, if I went to stay with the VTuber side of things. But it would have been weird. Imagine that we're going into the IPL, like, 1000. There's Paz all dressed up looking nice. There's Caveman all dressed up looking nice in his Dark Hollow shiny shirt. And then there's me as a VTuber. That would look strange. That would look very, very weird. So I'm, like, they were open and receptive, but they're understandably a little bit concerned. But I'm very, very thankful that Illuvium, like, given me the opportunities, because it's getting me back on my feet here to actually start being me for me again, making content for myself, helping others, and then compared to the last work where we had a college esports team that was getting broadcasting awards, winning championships, but yet you would never see me anywhere. And I get that I'm the production manager, I shouldn't be in the forefront. But I didn't get anything because I didn't go to places, I didn't network, not because I was lazy, but because I didn't want to infect and harm my coworkers. So unlike the other ones where I would never see the light of day, Illuvium, while a small community, makes me feel like a superstar. And I am super, super thankful for that. And Gear, you're always here for support as well. Giving me shit in the chat by all means. Like, oh yeah, that's totally fine. I'm having a fun time too, don't get me wrong. It's never personal. But yeah, I was a VTuber in the first place. Well, that was another thing. In my time prior to the college esports, and then during college esports, I did take, like, I'm joking in regards to how you said you look strange, but people would look at me and immediately think one of two things. Either that I was hard to work with and aggressive, that, like, I was very, very difficult, like, I didn't take any feedback, I always got upset. And there is one thing that I will say. I understand why some people can argue that I didn't take feedback very, very well back then. But here's the thing. When I was doing the college esports thing and making broadcasts, I was basically left to myself to make a show. I never had any, like, specific KPIs I had to meet or any key performance indicators. I had, like, no segments that I really needed to be, like, forced into. All I was supposed to do is just put on the best possible show, day after day after day after day, 7 days a week for about 6 months straight, and I wouldn't get a lick of feedback. So yes, I was resistant to feedback when then I got a message from my coworkers saying that, hey, by the way, some things need to be changing, otherwise we're gonna have to make some hard decisions. Your last 3 years of work have been crap. I went from having no feedback for years to then all of a sudden having my entirety of my workplace life at that place being put into question. And if they want to say that I'm bad at receiving feedback for that, okay. I get it. I just wish that things were more upfront. The time of. If they didn't like something beforehand, to let me know. I would have changed it. But to get a massive thing like that about my past couple of years of work, I did give them a hard time a bit for that. So I look aggressive, I don't take feedback too well, and I am consistently, especially back in the day, it was like, oh, what's with the autistic guy? Like, because they would notice my tics or the way that I talked, and they would give me an absolute hard time. I would laugh it off, But especially when I'm trying to be an example for students that I'm training to be brand new, to be commentators, to be a face of the stream, if I show that it's upsetting me, I had to try my best to just blow it all off, because one, it's just somebody on the internet, it is what it is. But two, I need to be an example for these students that you just have to blow it off and keep going. So, I was beat up for quite a while. Yeah, how can I be bad at receiving feedback if I've never gotten feedback to begin with? And that's where my biggest argument was. And I definitely thank you, Gary. I definitely appreciate it. And that's what I hope comes across. Even if I am a little bit strange at times, even if I am a little bit weird, I'm just trying to be genuine. I speak how I feel to a point, and I always try to be upfront and whatnot. I don't try to hide anything from anybody. That's why I know I'm overdue for it, but even say like my monthly progress report, I'd love talking to all of you about how exactly I'm doing as a VTuber, or not as a VTuber, but as a YouTuber. If I was making anything, I'd be open about it. Like, I'm open to everything. We play cards, yeah. Heck yeah. Nope, absolutely. I mean, I could probably think of a few things that'd be a little bit weirder, but I can't necessarily say that onto stream now, can I? Playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic or anything like that, that's tame. Yeah, thanks for listening, y'all. Load up on my resources here. Oh no, that's the worst. One sleeve, but you have no extras. Can I just load this up off of my passives? I can actually. There we go. Just wrapping up the Illuvium 0 cooldown lap here. So I'll be calling it a night. Or calling it a night, calling it a day. Let's burn the fuel. That's basically all this tier 3 land is for me personally right now. Just a fuel burner. I was very lucky. When I bought this plot, I was expecting that it would take me a long time to have to rebuild this thing, but the previous owner actually kept it completely built and didn't reset it when selling it. So I got to buy this thing and then immediately start just burning fuel. It was a very, very happy accident I'm thankful for. Well, fair enough here. Well, I tell you what though, Gear, it's a great time, especially in the upcoming months, to at least be interested. Because eventually we're going to, of course, get some cool stuff around the corner. The arena itself, of course, is an absolute blast, but I can only imagine what it's going to be like once the MMO comes out. Being able to have a... excuse me. Have like a traditional MMO style. I'm not sure exactly how like heavy or if you're into MMOs at all, but having something like a Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft kind of style to play. I know I'm going to be a healer, but you have plenty of different options that you can do. Yeah, that's my reminder that it's time to wrap up soon, to rest the voice, chug some cough medicine, get some editing done, then if I'm lucky, try to relax a little bit before the end of the night. There was one thing I keep forgetting what I was trying to do. Was it Crimson? That's the one thing. When you have so many plots, it's hard to keep track of what your goals were for each individual plot. Some could say I lose the plot on my own plot. That's what I was doing. These resource centers only take an hour to complete, but it doesn't have that much each time. So it does require me to check in lots more often compared to my other plots that are fully built up. And I always forget, so I'm always starved on resources here. Gotta keep collecting them. And then, of course, the fuel takes 24 hours. Alright. Trying to get something planned for the 29th and 30th, absolutely. Again, I'm still, of course, as per always, as of late, still waiting to confirm a few things, because it all depends whether or not the Illuvium World Finals is online or in person. I don't think there's been a confirmation as to either way, so the dates are still kind of to be determined. And knowing my luck, if I confirm anything with you, that's exactly the date that it's going to end up being on. So I will make sure to have you know, give you notice as soon as I know. But with that being said, we are going to call it a day here. Back to the editor's booth for me after I get a little bit of lunch in. It's a little bit of an exciting day, and at the same time, a little bit of a personal one. I do thank you to everybody who stuck around listening to essentially my lore as to how I started as a Illuvium creator and as being Silent. So definitely thank yous for sticking around. What is for lunch? Whatever frozen lunch I happen to have available. But I think I have a chicken and rice bowl or something available. I'll have to see in a second. Either that or a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Something nice and easy. Nice and quick. Get back to editing. And start looking around, seeing what other streams of Illuvium have been going on. See maybe if I can give some of yous a highlight. But for now, again, I'll call it a day. The plan for the next day or so is going to be resting up, getting ready for the IPL 1000 stream on the weekend. So the next stream that you will see of mine will be on either Saturday, or it should be Saturday. It'll be on Saturday and then Sunday as well. Might be a mixture of my, like similar to last weekend where it was a mixture of my stream plus Illuvium stream, but you'll see me nonetheless as long as I'm able to keep on speaking. So that'll be all for today. Thank you all once again for tuning in, and I will see you on the weekend, everyone.